So, hello everyone. Welcome to our last presentation on the HIC Talk Stage. We are a little bit late because Linda was on the main stage. Thank you for being here. And your presentation is about vendor selection, princes or totes. Have fun.
Thank you very much. So thank you for being here and thank you for watching online. So you might wonder, what is this session about? Yeah, so there's been something on my mind for a long time. I have been in the business for 20 years and I watched hoteliers buy technology for 20 years. And it hasn't really changed in these 20 years. Click. Here we go. And no offense to anyone, but the way that the things were evaluated 20 years ago, it follows the same processes today. We ask some questions, we get a demo, and that's kind of it. And it bothered me because I think, like, as a vendor or a supplier, I think my fellow suppliers feels the same way. We want to make our customers happy, and when they buy our product, we want them to feel satisfied, and we want the relationship to be long and that everybody's happy. And if the due diligence or if the buying experience is not complete, we both kind of set off in the wrong way on that journey. In hospitality, my experience is that the buying process really takes one of two paths. The hotel groups, or the larger, or the ones that have more funding, they typically do an RFI or an RFP, and it contains a lot of questions, And this is also very interesting to observe. So from a PMS standpoint, we have RFPs that still ask the question if we do check-in, if we do reservations for children, can we handle the age of children? Can we do packages? Can we do this? And I mean, a lot of those 1,000 questions, if you take away 80%, the rest of the ones are really the ones that's relevant. Because if we can't do that other stuff, we shouldn't even be calling ourselves PMS vendors, right? So there's a lot of questions. Then what happens? We do a demo. Maybe we do 2, maybe we do 3. In some cases, we do a proof of concept. So we build a whole environment and we really go through the detailed business process. And I really have a lot of respect. The due diligence here is excellent. They really ensure that all the requirements are met. But let me ask this question. When requirements are met, is that what creates magic? So if I answer yes to these 1,000 questions, or if I answer yes to 80%, is that then going to be this wonderful magic solution? I dare to challenge this. The other approach is for the ones that don't have so much funding. So if you look at the independent hotels, they might know they need to acquire new technology. They need a new PMS or whatever other software. So they don't have time to really evaluate that normally, and they don't have funding, or they don't want to spend their funding on a consultant to do the job for them. So usually what happens is that they simply approach a vendor and they request a demo. So we happily show them, and we show them a demo, and it's great. They ask some questions. Then what typically happens is that they go to their peers, so the other hoteliers in the industry, and they ask about the reputation of the vendor. So is it good? You know, do you use these guys? Are you happy and stuff? And then they make their selection based on this. And that's a very trust-based decision-making process. The question is here, is that not a bit too risky? So where you have the very detailed, excellent due diligence in the first case, this one doesn't have a lot of due diligence. So it's very trustful. Both, I don't want to dismiss either of these, but I think it's very important to consider if they are good enough. And are we happy with good enough? So mediocritis, right? Is this where we want to stay? And like I started out by saying, I want the customers that select our products to be extremely happy. I want them to be sure in their choice. And I believe all of us suppliers feel that way. So I don't think good enough is good enough for our customers here, our hoteliers. So, where am I going with all this stuff? If we just take a moment and imagine that when you select a supplier, it's like entering a marriage. Because that's what we both want, right? Hoteliers don't want to change supplier all the time. And as suppliers, we want to have the customer forever to be happy. I think we need a new battery in this clicker, maybe. So when you get married, you kind of know if the guy or the girl is into you. So before you take the leap by selecting a vendor, have you checked if they're into you? Are they really into you? Are they passionate about your success? Did they take the time to listen? Or were they just really good in ticking all the boxes? So let's go with this thought for a second. Because a couple of years ago, I, for the first time, experienced a new approach. And it rattled me, really. I was like, what is this? And the great thing about this approach is that it takes very little effort for the buyer. And if you look at the other two approaches, there's a certain element of inequality in that too. So the ones that have get to do all the due diligence, the ones that don't have to go on the trust. This one is super easy and can be used by everybody. So you may wonder, what am I talking about? So what I got, and it wasn't from an independent hotel, it was from a hotel group. They sent, and to us, and probably also to others, they sent a small brief. And they said, this is us. We have this many hotels. This is like our concept. This is how we deal with the guests. These are the systems that we have. It was like a 2-pager. And then they asked, what can you do for us? Just think about that. Now, just to summarize what I just said, a few bullet points is all that is required. An email, a PDF, whatever. Tell what you're using, what is important for you. Don't ask all these questions. Just tell who you are, and then ask. And then let him do a free format reply. As a vendor, that's almost terrifying, right? Because it's so unusual that somebody gives us free format reply, which is not like just do a demo type of thing. But what can you do for me? Wow, right? It requires so much more from the vendor to really reflect on who you are as a hotelier. And by doing that, I would dare to say that as a hotel, you can simply observe the effort that the supplier puts into your request or into your question, your one single question. And you will already know if they are into you or not. So did they even read? Did they digest it? Did they do an elaborate response? Did they really take the time to understand where you want to be? Did they add additional value? Did they say, oh, I can't cover this bit, but you know what? It makes me think of my other colleague in the industry, and they do this stuff in a great way, and you could integrate, and this could create this amazing solution. Did that reply even add more things than you had ever even thought about? If I was buying, I would do it like this. I would challenge the vendors, I would challenge us as a supplier community to really show that we are into you. And that, in fact, is the end of my session, because that is how I believe you will figure out as a hotel the difference between princes and toads.
Thank you, Linda. Are there any questions in our audience here? No? Then, thank you for being here. Thank you for closing the HIC Talk Stage. It was very interesting.
Thank you.